Chapter 5, First Competition. The Galaxy Games arena loomed ahead, an architectural marvel of translucent steel and shimmering lights, suspended in the vacuum of space. As Jake and Zara approached the entrance, the sheer magnitude of the event hit them. Alien species from countless planets thronged the stands, their vibrant clothing and exotic features painting a kaleidoscopic picture of unity and diversity. Inside the locker room, the atmosphere was charged with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Jake paced back and forth, his muscles tense and his heart pounding. Zara, though outwardly calm, could feel her pulse quicken. They had trained hard, but this was their first official competition, and the stakes were high. Every move, every decision would be scrutinized by billions. "Remember," Jake said, breaking the silence, "we've got this." Zara nodded, a determined glint in her ice-blue eyes. The door to the arena slid open with a soft hiss, revealing the vast expanse of the gravball field. It was an impressive sight, a floating platform encased in a force field, with gravity manipulated to create zones of varying intensity. The crowd roared as Jake and Zara stepped onto the field, their cheers a cacophony of languages and sounds. Their opponents, a seasoned team from the planet Cretan, were already in position. The Cretans were known for their brute strength and aggressive tactics, and their hulking forms radiated confidence. Jake and Zara exchanged a quick glance, silently reaffirming their strategy. The referee, a tall being with translucent skin and glowing eyes, raised a hand, and the game began. The gravball, a sphere of pulsating energy, was released into the center of the field, and both teams lunged for it. Jake's agility was immediately put to the test. He darted through low-gravity zones with the speed of a comet, weaving past Cretan defenders. His movements were fluid, a testament to his rigorous training and natural talent. Zara, meanwhile, navigated the high-gravity zones with precision, her SAR-flying experience giving her an uncanny ability to maintain control under pressure. The Cretans played rough, using their size and strength to their advantage. Jake was slammed into the force field more than once, the impact jarring but not deterring him. Zara faced similar challenges, her smaller frame making her a target for the Cretans' aggressive maneuvers. But their opponents underestimated the duo's resilience. Midway through the match, Jake and Zara managed to gain possession of the gravball. They moved in perfect sync, passing the ball back and forth, outmaneuvering the Cretans with a combination of speed and strategy. The crowd watched in awe as Jake executed a flawless flip in a low-gravity zone, launching the ball towards Zara, who caught it with grace and hurled it towards the goal. The Cretan goalkeeper, a formidable wall of muscle, reacted too slowly. The gravball zipped past him, striking the goalpost and igniting in a burst of light. The scoreboard flashed, and the crowd erupted into cheers. Despite the small victory, the game was far from over. The Cretans redoubled their efforts, their play becoming increasingly ferocious. Jake and Zara were pushed to their limits, their coordination and endurance tested with every passing second. They had moments of brilliance, but also moments of near defeat, the pendulum of fortune swinging wildly. In the final minutes, the score was tied. Tension hung thick in the air as both teams fought for the deciding point. Sweat drenched Jake's brow, and his muscles ached from the relentless exertion. Zara's breath came in quick gasps, her focus razor-sharp despite the exhaustion. Then it happened. Jake seized an opportunity, intercepting a pass with lightning, fast reflexes. He dashed through the field, dodging Cretan defenders, his eyes locked on the goal. Zara was right behind him, ready to support. As he approached the goal, a Cretan defender lunged at him, but Jake was prepared. He feinted to the left, then passed the ball to Zara with a flick of his wrist. Zara caught the ball in a high-gravity zone, her movement swift and sure. She took aim, her mind calculating the trajectory with the precision of a seasoned pilot. With a powerful throw, she sent the ball hurtling towards the goal. Time seemed to slow as the ball arced through the air, heading straight for the target. The Cretan goalkeeper leapt, his massive form blocking the goal. But Zara's aim was true. The ball skimmed past his outstretched fingers, hitting the goalpost and detonating in a shower of sparks. The arena exploded with sound. Jake and Zara had done it. They had secured their first victory in the Galaxy Games. The scoreboard confirmed their win, and their names were chanted by thousands of voices. Breathing heavily, Jake and Zara stood together in the center of the field, soaking in the moment. They had faced their fears, battled fierce opponents, and emerged victorious. As they looked at each other, a newfound respect and camaraderie shone in their eyes. "Good job," Jake said, offering a fist bump. "You too," Zara replied, her smile radiant. Their journey had only just begun, but this victory was a testament to their potential. They knew that more challenges lay ahead, but for now, they savored the sweetness of their hard-earned triumph. Chapter 6: Sabotage. The night was quiet, the vast expanse of the galaxy casting a silvery glow over the training camp. Jake Hunter was in his quarters, meticulously reviewing footage from their last game, when a soft chime alerted him to a message. It was from Zara Liren, marked urgent. Without hesitation, he hurried to the training facilities where Zara awaited, her face a mask of concern. "Jake, look at this," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper as she handed him a grav ball. "Feel the weight distribution." Jake turned the ball over in his hands, his brow furrowing. "Someone's tampered with our equipment." Together, they began a thorough inspection of all their gear. The star-flying suits showed signs of subtle sabotage, navigation systems recalibrated to be slightly inaccurate, barely perceptible but enough to cause significant errors during a match. The gravball's internal mechanics were altered, designed to destabilize their gameplay. "Who would do this?" Jake asked, his anger barely contained. The betrayal stung, not just as an attack on their skills, but on the integrity of the competition itself. "It has to be a rival team," Zara replied, her voice steady but her hands trembling. "Someone who sees us as a threat." The realization hit them both hard. They were not just competitors. They were targets. Jake's eyes met Zara's, a silent agreement passing between them. This wasn't just about winning anymore. It was about proving they couldn't be broken. The night stretched on as they worked side by side, repairing the damage. Zara's expertise in star-flying technology and Jake's deep understanding of gravball mechanics complemented each other perfectly. In the dim light of the workshop, their hands moved with precision and urgency, their focus unbroken by fatigue. As they worked, their conversation flowed, a mixture of technical discussions and personal reflections. They spoke of their homes, Jake reminiscing about Earth's vibrant cities and Zara painting vivid pictures of Xylara's lush landscapes. Each word built a bridge between their worlds, fostering a connection that transcended mere partnership. By dawn, they had restored their equipment to its proper state. Exhausted but resolute, they knew the real challenge lay ahead. They would have to confront their saboteurs and ensure the integrity of the games. Later that day, they approached the game's officials with their findings. The officials, shocked and appalled, promised a full investigation. Security measures were heightened, and the rival teams were put on notice. Jake and Zara's courage in the face of adversity earned them respect and support from their peers. The confrontation with the rival team was inevitable. It happened in a secluded corridor, away from the prying eyes of spectators and officials. The tension was palpable as Jake and Zara faced the team they suspected of sabotage. Words were exchanged, accusations flung, but Jake's calm demeanor and Zara's unwavering gaze spoke volumes. They were not to be intimidated or undermined. "You're afraid," Jake said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of his conviction. The rival team's leader, a burly alien with a sneer permanently etched on his face, scoffed but couldn't hide the flicker of doubt in his eyes. "You have no proof." "We don't need proof to know the truth," Zara interjected, her voice clear and strong. "But we will prove it on the field." With that, they walked away, their heads held high. The encounter, though tense, solidified their determination. They knew the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were ready to face them together. As the next match approached, Jake and Zara's synergy was evident. Their training sessions were smoother, their coordination impeccable. Each movement, each decision, was a testament to the trust they had built. Their shared ordeal had transformed them. not just as athletes, but as individuals bound by a common goal and a deepening bond. The night before the match, they found themselves in the training camp's observation deck, looking out at the stars. The galaxy stretched out before them, a vast, infinite playground where anything was possible. "Do you think we'll win?" Zara asked, her voice soft, almost introspective. Jake turned to her, a smile playing on his lips. Zara smiled back, the tension of the past days melting away in that moment of quiet confidence. They had faced sabotage, fear, and doubt, but they had emerged stronger. Together, they were ready to take on whatever the Galaxy Games threw at them. As the stars shimmered above, Jake and Zara stood side by side, united by their shared resolve and the unspoken promise that whatever came next, they would face it together. Chapter 7: Growing Trust. The Galaxy Games training camp buzzed with activity, the air thick with anticipation, and the hum of diverse languages mingling in an electrifying symphony. In this vibrant hub of intergalactic sportsmanship, Jake and Zara were becoming the center of attention, their unique partnership capturing the hearts and imaginations of spectators and competitors alike. Their initial clashes and misunderstandings seemed like distant memories as they now moved in sync, a well-oiled machine. Each training session revealed more of their potential, their individual talents melding into a powerful force. Jake's gravball agility and Zara's star-flying precision created a dynamic synergy, each enhancing the other's strengths. One evening, after a particularly grueling training session, they found themselves alone in the communal area. The room, designed with panoramic views of the cosmos, was bathed in the soft glow of distant stars. They sat side by side, nursing their exhaustion and reflecting on their journey so far. "You know," Jake began, breaking the comfortable silence, "I never thought I'd get along this well with someone from another planet. It's different, but in a good way." Zara smiled, her ice-blue skin catching the starlight, making her appear ethereal. "I felt the same way. Our worlds are so different, yet here we are, finding common ground. It's remarkable." They talked long into the night, sharing stories of their childhoods, their dreams, and the burdens of expectation they both carried. Jake spoke of his father, a former gravball champion who had instilled in him the drive to excel. Zara recounted her planet's ancient legends of starflyers who danced among the stars, inspiring her to take up the sport. As the night deepened, their conversations grew more personal. Zara shared her fears of failing her people and the pressure to prove herself worthy of representing Exilera. Jake, in turn, opened up about his struggles with self-doubt and the shadow of his father's legacy. "I always felt like I had to be perfect," Jake admitted, his voice barely above a whisper, "like I couldn't afford to make any mistakes or I'd be letting everyone down." Zara reached out, her hand gently covering his. "Perfection is an illusion, Jake. What matters is that we give our best, support each other, and grow stronger together. You've taught me that." Their bond, forged in the fires of competition and adversity, was now tempered with mutual respect and genuine affection. This newfound closeness translated seamlessly into their performance on the field. Their movements were synchronized, each anticipating the other's actions with uncanny precision. They began winning match after match, their victories celebrated with exuberant cheers and the admiration of their peers. The climax of their growing trust came during a particularly tough training drill. The coaches had designed an obstacle course that tested every aspect of their abilities. As they navigated the course, Jake and Zara faced a series of challenges that required perfect coordination. A misstep from either of them could spell disaster. At one point, Jake stumbled, his footing slipping on a slick surface. Without hesitation, Zara reached out, her reflexes honed from years of star flying. She caught his arm, steadying him before he could fall. Their eyes locked, a silent understanding passing between them. They resumed the course, their trust in each other unshaken, their resolve even stronger. As they crossed the finish line, breathless but triumphant, the coaches nodded in approval. Their teammates, once skeptical, now looked at them with newfound respect. Jake and Zara had proven that their partnership was not just a fluke, but the result of hard work, determination, and an unbreakable bond. That evening, the camp hosted a celebration to honor their achievements. Under the glittering stars, Jake and Zara found themselves in a quiet corner, away from the revelry. Zara's eyes sparkled with joy as she looked at Jake. "We did it, Jake. We're really doing it." Jake smiled, his heart swelling with pride and affection. "Yeah, we are, and I couldn't have done it without you, Zara." Their connection, once fraught with tension and uncertainty, had blossomed into something profound and beautiful. They stood together, gazing at the stars, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that as long as they had each other, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. Chapter 8: Cultural Clash. The evening of the cultural exchange event was a spectacle to behold. The vast, domed hall of the training camp was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and scents from across the galaxy. Delegations from countless planets had set up booths showcasing their unique traditions, foods, and art forms. The atmosphere was electric with excitement and curiosity, a melting pot of interstellar cultures mingling under the same roof. Jake and Zara arrived together, their earlier victories having drawn them closer. They were eager to learn more about each other's worlds and the myriad other civilizations represented at the event. Jake, dressed in his best Earth attire, a sleek, dark suit that complemented his athletic build, felt a sense of pride and anticipation. Zara, adorned in traditional Exiliran garb, a flowing, iridescent gown that shimmered with every movement, looked ethereal, her ice-blue skin glowing under the ambient lights. Their first stop was the Exiliran booth, where Zara introduced Jake to the intricate art of star weaving, a delicate craft that involved weaving threads infused with stardust into mesmerizing patterns. Jake marveled at the artistry, impressed by the skill and patience it required. He tried his hand at it, fumbling but enthusiastic, making Zara laugh heartily. As they moved through the hall, sampling exotic delicacies and observing various cultural performances, their bond seemed to strengthen with each shared experience. However, the harmony of the evening was soon to be tested. At the Earth booth, Jake eagerly showed Zara a traditional human dance, inviting her to join him. The dance, an upbeat and joyous celebration, involved close contact and lively movements. Jake's intention was to share a piece of his culture with Zara, to let her feel the warmth and exuberance of human traditions. He took her hand, his grip firm yet gentle, and pulled her into the dance. Zara hesitated, her initial amusement giving way to discomfort. On Exilara, such close physical contact was reserved for only the most intimate of relationships, and even then, it was conducted with a certain formality and grace. Jake's enthusiastic, almost casual approach felt jarring to her. Jake, caught up in the moment and the music, didn't immediately notice Zara's discomfort. He spun her around, laughing, until he finally saw the strained look on her face. He stopped abruptly, the music still playing around them as a silence fell between them. "What's wrong?" he asked, concern replacing his earlier joy. Zara took a step back, her eyes downcast. "Jake, on Exilara, this kind of dancing. It's very intimate. It's not something we do in public, with someone who is not close in that way." Jake's face flushed with embarrassment as realization dawned on him. "I'm so sorry, Zara. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just wanted to share something I love with you." Zara nodded, appreciating his apology but still feeling the weight of the cultural misstep. "I know, Jake. But you have to understand, our cultures are very different. What's normal for you can be very different for me." The incident cast a shadow over the rest of the evening. They continued to explore the event, but the easy camaraderie they had shared earlier was replaced with a tension that neither knew quite how to dispel. Other competitors and attendees, sensing the shift in their demeanor, whispered among themselves, their curiosity piqued. Back at their quarters, the silence was heavy. Zara retired early, her mind swirling with conflicting emotions. Jake stayed up, replaying the evening in his head, berating himself for his thoughtlessness. The next day, their training was marked by awkwardness. Their movements were out of sync, their communication stilted. The coaches, sensing something was amiss, tried to offer guidance, but the underlying tension was something only Jake and Zara could resolve. That evening, as the artificial dusk settled over the training camp, Jake knocked on Zara's door. She opened it cautiously, her expression guarded. Can we talk? He asked softly. Zara nodded and stepped aside, allowing him in. I want to apologize again, Jake began. I was so caught up in my own excitement that I didn't consider how you might feel. It was thoughtless of me. Zara sighed, her eyes softening. I know you meant well, Jake, and I appreciate that. But we need to understand each other's boundaries and cultures if we're going to work together. This isn't just about winning games, it's about mutual respect. Jake nodded, taking her hand in his, this time with a gentle, understanding grip. You're right. I want to learn more about Exileran culture, and I want you to understand mine too. Let's not let this come between us. We're stronger together. Zara squeezed his hand, a small smile playing on her lips. Agreed! They spent the rest of the evening talking, delving deeper into their respective cultures, sharing stories and traditions. The conversation was a turning point, bridging the gap that had formed between them. By the end of the night, they had regained their sense of camaraderie, their bond stronger for having faced and overcome the misunderstanding. The next day, their training was markedly improved. Their movements were in sync once more, their communication fluid and effective. The cultural clash had been a test, but it had also been an opportunity for growth. They emerged from it more united and determined than ever to succeed, not just as teammates, but as true partners. Chapter 9: Rising Threats. The atmosphere in the Galaxy Games training camp was electric with anticipation. Each team was honing their strategies and pushing their limits, but amidst this bustling preparation, a shadow loomed over Jake and Zara. It all began with an innocuous-looking message that appeared on Zara's communication device late one evening. Zara sat alone in her quarters, the soft glow of holographic screens casting a serene light. She was reviewing footage of their recent matches when the alert pinged. She absent-mindedly opened the message, expecting another update from the game's organizers or a note from her family. But as she read the words, her heart sank. The message was brief but chilling. Your collaboration with humans is betrayal. Withdraw from the games or face the consequences. The sender was anonymous, but the content bore the unmistakable marks of the Exilera extremists, a radical group that vehemently opposed any form of interspecies cooperation. Zara's hands trembled as she read the message again, her mind racing. She knew about the extremists. They were a small but vocal faction on her home planet, advocating for isolation and purity of Exileran culture. Taking a deep breath, Zara decided to confide in Jake. She found him in the training room, running through a solo drill. The moment she stepped in, he noticed the anxiety etched on her face. Zara, what's wrong? He asked, immediately concerned. She handed him the device, letting him read the message. As he scanned the words, his expression hardened. We need to report this, he said firmly, his protective instincts kicking in. They approached the Galaxy Games security team, who took the threat seriously. An investigation was launched, and additional security measures were put in place to ensure Zara's safety. Despite these actions, the weight of the threat lingered, casting a pall over their preparations. That night, Zara sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the stars through the transparent dome of her quarters. The beauty of the cosmos, usually a source of comfort, now felt distant and indifferent. She heard a gentle knock on her door. Come in, she called softly, already knowing it was Jake. He entered, carrying 2 cups of hot beverage, a comforting aroma filling the room. Thought you might need this, he said, handing her a cup. Thanks, Zara replied, taking a sip. The warmth spread through her, momentarily soothing her nerves. Jake sat beside her, their shoulders almost touching. I know this is tough, but we're in this together, he said, his voice steady and reassuring. We can't let them win by giving in to fear. Zara nodded, grateful for his presence. It's just, I've never faced something like this before. The games are about unity, about proving that different species can work together. But these threats make me wonder if it's worth it. Jake turned to face her, his eyes intense. It's worth it, Zara. Look at what we've achieved together. We're proving that collaboration works, that different cultures can come together and create something extraordinary. If we back down now, we let them silence that message. His words resonated with her, igniting a spark of determination. "You're right," she said, her voice gaining strength. "We can't let them win. We have to show them that unity is stronger than fear." The following days were a whirlwind of activity. The game's officials doubled down on security, ensuring that every aspect of the competition was monitored. Jake and Zara threw themselves into their training with renewed vigor, their shared resolve transforming their routines. They became a seamless unit, their movements synchronized, their strategies refined. As the final event approached, Zara received messages of support from her family and friends on Exila, bolstering her spirits. She knew the eyes of her planet were on her, watching her defy the extremists and stand for something greater. Jake and Zara spent their evenings in quiet camaraderie, sharing stories and hopes for the future. The bond between them grew stronger, transforming from mere partnership into a deep, unspoken connection. Their shared ordeal had forged an unbreakable alliance, one that transcended the boundaries of species and culture. On the eve of the final competition, Zara stood on a balcony overlooking the vast expanse of the training camp. Jake joined her, and they stood in silence, drawing strength from each other's presence. "We've come a long way," Zara said softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Jake nodded, "And we'll go even further, together." Their hands found each other, fingers intertwining. In that moment, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the bond between them. They knew the challenges ahead would be daunting, but they were ready to face them, united in their purpose and strengthened by their trust. As they turned to head back inside, preparing for the trials of the next day, they knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. And in their hearts, they carried the hope that their example would inspire others to look beyond differences and see the potential of unity, proving that love and cooperation could indeed transcend the stars.